This video is about the Google update here in 2024 in the middle of March. It's for people that are bloggers and or are affiliate marketers turned to blogging, or just people that do not call themselves or classify themselves as an SEO, someone that practices and or studies search engine optimization as a career or as a way to, as Google likes to say, manipulate the search rankings. So this all starts off with back on March 5th, new ways we started, or new ways we're tackling spammy, low quality content on search. We're enhancing search so you see more useful information and fewer results, or you see fewer results that feel made for search engines. Well, here's the deal. Google is telling us that they're enhancing search. So on May 5th, they're telling us we're enhancing search so you see more useful information. Who defines useful information? Well, that's Google. It's their company. It's their sandbox, right? It's their playground. They own it. It's their ball. You either have to play by their rules or you have to go home or get your own ball. Part of that we're going to talk about a little bit later, and fewer results that feel made for search engines. Typically, anyone that travels the path of blogging or becomes a blogger or finds out about blogging and identifies it as a way to make money, or simply even a person that decides they're going to put up content and just wants that information to be found because they believe it's good content, they start creating content and try to get results in the search engines that are made for the search engines based on reports like this. Now, this update, again, is all about improving the quality of ranking. But what does that really mean? Like in plain English, reducing low quality, unoriginal results. In 2022, we began updating our ranking systems to reduce unhelpful, unoriginal content on search and keep it at very low levels. We're bringing what we learned from that work into March 2024 core update. So they're doing these updates. The focus is to keep more spam out of your results. But what is spam? Well, they have a whole thing on spam policies. But before we get that, I don't want to skip off this page. And I've talked about this on the channel. It's scaled content abuse, site reputation abuse, and expired domain abuse. Now, I've left all the links to everything I'm clicking on and everything that I'm reading here for you to read, for you to update, and for you to ask questions in the comments so we can work through this together. Because if you're creating content as a non-SEO, as a person that is not attempting to study and or learn how to manipulate search results, but just create, or your goal is just to create quality content for an audience on a subject that you're interested in, and you think that you can create content on that, put it up on the internet, earn money through affiliate links, selling your own product, and or getting into an ad network, which are all things that people do once they discover blogging and or affiliate marketing or marketing in general, or just wanting to make money online. But I don't know anything about scaled content abuse. That means nothing to me, right? Until I start digging deeper and I take the time to go out and see what the quote SEOs are saying and what Google has to say about it. Site reputation abuse. Sometimes websites have their own great content, and they may also host low quality content provided by third parties with the goal of capitalizing on the hosting's site's strong reputation. For example, a third party might publish payday loan reviews on a trusted educational website to gain ranking benefits from this site. Such content ranking highly on search can confuse or mislead visitors who may have vastly different expectations for the content on that given website. Right now, that is things like Forbes and the New York Times and Rolling Stone, or any site that is big and popular and has a huge name brand and has large, vast amounts of authority on the internet given to them by Google. And there are other people that have done this, that have built up websites in very specific niches. And I'm going to make a video later on here in the week or in a couple days showing that, because the idea and the concept here is they're now going to consider, or will now consider, very low value third-party content produced primarily for ranking purposes and without close oversight of a website owner to be spam. We're publishing this policy 2 months in advance of enforcement on May 5th. So this is going to be a new update that says that anyone that is abusing the reputation of their site has 2 months. So that's not you and me, most likely, but if you're a large site, you have 2 months to fix it, to give site owners time to make any needed changes. Okay? So what does that mean? Well, we're not going to find out until May 5th. This is March 22nd, or this is March 22nd. This is March 22, the 22nd of March. And we're looking at this from an aspect of, I am not an SEO. I don't even know, right? If you're looking at this, you're watching this video and you're thinking, I don't even know what the reputation of my site is. I don't even know how Google sees my site. Now there are tools, and we're going to take a look at one later on, that gives you a number that sort of designates your site's reputation based on a few factors, but Google claims that they don't use that same type of factoring or that same equation. That's just owned by that company. Now, expired domain abuse, this is about going out and buying expired domains. So occasionally expired domains are purchased and repurposed with the primary intention of boosting search rankings of low quality or unoriginal content. So expired domains that are purchased and repurposed with the intention of boosting the search ranking of low quality content are now considered spam. So again, this goes back to, if you're an SEO, if you have decided to devote your life and time to gaming the system, then you know that an expired domain that has built up a hefty site reputation can then be redirected and or reused to add content and instantly start ranking in the Google search results. Or it used to be able to, but maybe it still does. We don't really know. And that is what this update is about. This update that started on March 5th. Now, how do you find out about these updates? Well, you have to go to YouTube and listen to a lot of, people that, again, they're in the business of doing SEO or ranking people, primarily people for local businesses and or people looking to game the system as affiliate marketers or as marketers to, get that premier spot on the Google search results, and really just doing it. Again, they're manipulating those results to get up there. But Google provides this status dashboard. And I say get up there, I mean to get up in the top results. And we're going to look at some results in a second of keywords that people would try to or attempt to do that for, because they are, and I've talked about this here on the channel, the stages of awareness and or top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. These are the stages where people are using or are typing in certain search queries in Google to find information because they're ready to make a purchase. We'll take a look at some of those, but that all goes back to stages of awareness. This book was written in the 1960s, and this is what marketers are doing, and this is what marketers are looking at, and this is what people that, again, start off to become a blogger, they realize these are the things, or they thought these are the things that you need to do to make sure that you get that first position in the search engine result pages, right? Or the SERPs. But back to this Google search status dashboard, March 2024 spam update, it ran for 14 days. So what does that mean, right? That, or right here, it says, it doesn't say it here, it talks about it in a different article here in a second, but the idea here is the duration of this update. So an update in this case is like if you update the software on your PC or on your phone, you install that update, it runs and it reinstalls all the files, and then it displays the new program that you installed or the new update. Or if it's a security update, it might happen in the background, but it has to be updated and you might not be able to use that program while it's updating. This update that's running or ran for 14 days and 21 hours was to crunch all the data that Google has on every website on the internet that they index and they provide in the search results when you type in a keyword and you hopefully show up in the Google search results. And of course, the first page, right? Because the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, ninth, 20th page of Google search results, which they do exist, but who goes looking for those unless you're looking for a very specific piece of data? But typically the first page is the only page that matters. So this update ran on all that data after they, again, went through and figured out how to programmatically engineer the results based upon all the data points that they've created to create new ways to tackle spam or what they consider low quality content. So back to this, that update, an incident, that update ran here in March. Now, of course, you go look, these updates happen quite often, and there's other little updates that they don't even announce that happen every year. And we're going to tackle some of these even going back to 2015, 2017 here in a minute. But this is where we are, right? This is where we are as a non-SEO, as a person that doesn't, again, invest their time and their effort in manipulating the rankings, but just trying to create helpful content to help people. And again, as a blogger, so that information gets found so we can sell our own product, so we can, sell a course or sell a physical product, like I said, if you are selling your own product. And one of the things that works better for reputation that I've seen, that I've noticed in my research, and things that people are talking about when they see these massive drops that you may have seen or may not have seen as a blogger and an affiliate marketer. People that have their own product and handle their own transactions, like e-commerce, they get a little different behavior, or they're seeing a little different behavior to these updates, rather than affiliate marketers, which send people off their page to go to another company or to another site to make a purchase. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But you can see the core update started at the same time here on the 5th of March, but it's going to, they say, take about a month to finish updating. As you can see down here, 29 days, 25 days, 13 days from these updates that ran in 2023. Now you can click through there on that Google search status dashboard. So if you go back and you click on any one of these links, it'll take you to the actual update, and it'll say March 2024 update, and it'll tell you this update or this rollout, right? This installation of this new software, this new algorithm software to crunch all this data was completed on March 20th, 2024. Today is March 22nd, 2024. And you can see also that they had said on March 5th that it would take about 2 weeks to complete. If you were to check out the spam update, it was released at the same time, but it says this rollout may take up to a month to complete because it is updating all of the software or the core of the algorithm. So this is still yet to be completed. So people have seen, dips in their traffic, and or when they look at their Google Search Console, they see things that, like if you were to go and look at rankings, for example, I'll bring this into the picture here. This is for my AI site right here. This is actually Ahrefs, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit in a second. When it talks about ranking factors or ranking scores, Google is going to talk about that here in a second. Ahrefs is a company that creates data points that you can't see inside of Google. Google doesn't give you this information. You can go find it manually, or you could create it based upon your own research. But this is a tool that they suck in, or they pull in all this data, suck in all the data that they can, and then they created their own algorithm or their own, program to give you this information. Google Search Console gives you this. So you have this information that comes straight from Google, so you can see number of clicks, number of impressions. Now for me, if you're following along here on the channel, you'll see my AI. This is my AI blog. You know that I moved this on March 6th, and I saw a dip here in clicks and impressions, but then it went back up. So I had moved my site from Grooveblog over to WordPress, so lots of things were happening to include a totally new sitemap. Now, here on March 12th into March 13th, going out to March 19th, March 20th, I've kind of settled here. I don't think this is the end of the story for me yet because of all the massive changes that I've made. And you can see here I have 348 pages that are not indexed right now because I changed my sitemap. Because if you go back and you watch those AI blogging videos, and again, not an SEO. I'm not a search engine optimization specialist. I am a normal person like you that decided to say, as a marketer, as an affiliate marketer, or as a person that understands marketing and marketing concepts, that has read books like this and studied marketing, I want to create helpful content because I want to help people and I'm interested in a topic, but I also want to make money from it or make money from my efforts by helping people. So I have this sitemap that I added to Google. These pages have to be indexed. If they're not indexed, they can't be served by Google. They can be served by other search engines. So that's something important to know as well. And we talked about that. And I'll continue to talk about that here on the channel. But this rollout, this core update, it's not finished. The spam update is finished, but the core update is not yet finished. So we keep moving on. And what we need to know, right, as web creators, because again, this is more what we are, right? Me and you, we're not search engine optimization specialists. We're not investing our time and our effort in trying to hack and or game the system. We're just trying to understand what good content is and what the rules are so we don't break them. And a little bit more on that later about what the rules are, because check this out. Google Search Central blog, recent blog updates. These blogs go back to 2005. These are changes and these are updates. These are things that Google has been doing with their algorithm since 2005. I didn't come online to start creating content as a marketer or learn what affiliate marketing was or what blogging was, other than the fact that, in my IT career, I knew what websites were and I understood at a high level or a tech level about what and why Google was doing the things they were doing, but I didn't think about getting my content indexed for the purpose of getting it found to make money. It wasn't in my wheelhouse. It wasn't in my train of thought, because my job was to make sure that the websites were up and people could access the information, not try to look at what the content I was creating, or if I was creating content, would it actually get found when someone typed it into a search engine. Two completely different trains of thought, kind of like what I'm explaining here. We're not SEOs. We have to now, as bloggers and or affiliate marketers or people, what Google says, what web creators should know about our March 2024 core update and new spam policies. We need to read this, right? We need to understand what a core update is. We need to understand how it impacts us if we're not following the rules or if we're trying to game the system. We need to understand what spam is according to Google, because everyone knows or everyone understands spam from the aspect of getting emails, right? Someone is spamming me. Someone is sending me emails that I don't want. Someone is spamming me in my Facebook Messenger. Someone is spamming my Facebook profile or in my group spamming, adding links that no one's interested in or only serves the purpose of getting people to click so someone can earn money, not truly providing value. Again, expired domain abuse, scaled content abuse, right? Then they have these questions. Is this change in how Google views AI content in terms of spam? Of course, I'm doing an AI case study here to use AI to create content, not just to create it faster, but to create content that is research for me to look at, read through, look at, site structure, outlines, read the research, do additional research, edit that based on, does this make sense? Is it written well? If someone reads this, are they getting information that is going to help them, assist them, educate them, entertain them? So they have policies there, right? Then what's different from the old policy against automatically generated content and the updated policy of scaled abuse? Now you need to read this and you need to understand it's meant to help people focus more clearly on the idea that producing content at scale. Again, if you watch here on YouTube and you look at what most SEOs are doing, are most people that would classify themselves as SEOs or who are creating content specifically only to game the system using what an SEO would teach them or what they learned from SEOs, they are doing this and they're automatically generating content and they're doing it programmatically, whether or not they have used AI to generate the content and then used some type of scripting to upload it to a website, or they paid a group of people to write out the content and then upload the content en masse, right? So you think about it like, if you were to hire a VA, a virtual assistant, in some other country that works for a lower wage than some of the other countries do, they could scale this out by creating a farm of people. And I'm not saying you just have to hire people in other countries. You could do this in any country depending on the amount of money that you could make. But that would be generating content at scale, or scaled content abuse. In the site reputation abuse, you would need a site that has a reputation to first abuse it. And of course, that goes into expired domains. And you can see here, what ranking signals does a site have? Now, this is interesting, and it's kind of buried under site reputation abuse, but these are the kind of things that you need to do as a blogger and as an affiliate marketer to understand the rules. You have to dip your toe, and you have to understand, or you have to dip your toe into the waters of SEO, and you have to understand that you might be breaking the rules and not even know it, because you heard someone say something, or you took a course, or you're in a group and you see people that are having success or having some success right now, but that might fall off the cliff, or they might just fall off the cliff later on when an update comes out, a spam update, a core update, some type of, again, helpful content update. Again, going back and looking at this all the way back to 2005, these updates and these things, and I'm going to show you an example of something that might be done, or you might think might be a clever idea, but it was covered in one of these updates going way back when, that it's not going to work and your whole site could get dinged for it. But the idea here is, what ranking signals does a site have? Our core ranking systems are primarily designed to work. Let me start that again. Our core ranking systems are primarily designed to work on the page level, using a variety of signals and systems to understand how to rank individual pages. We do have some site-wide signals that are also considered. Please note, some third-party services provide reputation or authority scores for sites. These don't correspond to any of Google's own signals, nor come from Google. I'm going to pull this back in here because this is Ahrefs. This is a well-known site that is used by SEOs and marketers, and it's shown a lot here on YouTube for doing research. Now, this is my AI site, universeunreal.com. This is and I say AI site, this is a site where I'm doing a case study, and yes, the content is generated by AI. I read it, I look at it, I edit it, I learn from it. I position it as helpful content inside of the realm of the topic, right? I pick a topic to generate traffic and then present offers as an affiliate, and then maybe later on down the road, my own offers, depending on how interested I am in the content, and then add those people to an email list to build up a newsletter of people that are interested in this type of content, just like I'm interested in it. So I'm using AI to generate that content. I'm editing it. I'm looking at it. I'm building it up slowly, right? But this DR and this UR, these are scores or backlink profile scores, right, for the authority of your site. Now, this tool is very valuable because you can come down here and you can actually see, like, if you hover over this, right, it's giving me information. For example, on March 6th, it talks about the March 2024 core update and the spam update. So having a tool like this is valuable if you're going to look at SEO or getting ranked on in the search engines, or getting ranked on Google, and using it as your main traffic source, which is a bad idea, by the way. But optimizing your content, in my opinion, is not a bad idea. But the problem is Google says not to do that, right? They say don't write for the search engines, right? What web creators should know is they should be creating content for people. And if you keep reading this, Google search core updates in your website. And again, I've just linked through all these, right? I've clicked through all these, and I'm just picking out things that I think are very important. And I've linked all these in the description. So check those out. And it talks about the core updates, how the core update works, right? There might not be nothing wrong with pages that may not be performing as well as they were before a core update. They haven't violated our spam policies, nor have been subjected to a manual or algorithmic action, because yes, they can manually index your site, and that has happened, and I'm going to talk about that later in another video later on in the week as I dive more into this. But again, my goal here is to talk to you as a non-SEO and as a person that isn't interested in trying to hack the system, but create helpful content, whether you write it yourself or you outsource it to a writer or you use artificial intelligence. So The idea and the concept here is they haven't violated our spam policies, nor have been subjected to a manual or algorithmic action as can happen to pages that do violate these policies. In fact, there's nothing in the core update that targets specific pages or sites. Again, that goes back to manual actions where they actually de-index people, and they did that during this update. That's a little bit of a different story, but instead, the changes are about improving how our system assesses content overall. These changes may cause some pages that were previously under-rewarded to do better in search results. Of course, it can also happen to unreward or not reward those pages or take away those rewards, right? What Google giveth, Google can taketh away, right? So the idea here is you need to read this and understand how long does it take to recover it from a core update. And it talks about how this happens, every few months, and the content that was impacted in search or discovery might not ever recover, assuming improvements have been made until the next broad core update is released. So there is no update of recovery, but there is no update that any content that you create would ever be found on Google or that Google would ever index it, but it still might be useful to somebody. So you need to always be looking at other traffic sources. Then continuing on, the idea and the big takeaway here when looking at what Google is trying to tell you, other than the fact that, they own the search engine, they own the algorithm, they own the signals. They don't tell you what the signals are. They just give you these guidelines to create, or the idea and the focus should be creating helpful, reliable, people-first content. Google's automatic rankings are designed to present helpful, maybe that was a Freudian slip, to present helpful, reliable information that's primarily created to benefit people, not to gain search engine rankings in the top search results. This page is designed to help creators evaluate if they're producing such content. Creating helpful, reliable, people-first content, you should self-assess your content by asking yourself these questions, and you should go through these questions, and you should ask yourself these questions, right? Some of this stuff is pretty obvious. Does the content have any spelling or stylistic issues? Is the content produced well, or does it appear sloppy or hastily produced? Is the content mass-produced or outsourced to a large number of creators or spread across a large network of sites so that individual pages or sites don't get as much attention or care? This is you've lost your focus and you think that creating a whole bunch of content at mass or at scale, right? Abusing the fact that you're just posting a lot of content to see what will work and you're just having a lot of people create and they're creating it hastily or sloppily, right? Then that's not going to work. Now, there are some other things in here, like when you read them, they will kind of make you scratch your head. Would you expect to see this content or referenced by a printed magazine, encyclopedia, or book? Does this content provide substantial value when compared to other pages in the search results? So you have to look at this and you have to ask yourself, right? Am I creating content that Google expects to be helpful, reliable, people-first content? And honestly, there is no way to know what Google is going to think other than you just reading these questions, right? Even if you are an expert, like I'm an expert in IT, right? In specific sets or in specific silos or specific tasks and things or areas of information technology that I've done for 30 years. I'm literally an expert. I have certifications. I have the resume to back it up. The performance is there, or the past performance is there. So if I was to blog about IT, would that instantly mean that my content is going to rank based upon that experience? No. I would have to build up that authority online, on the internet. I would have to go out and make sure that all that authority is established, is well established. And that takes time, even though the fact that I have that authority based upon my resume, if I go to an interview and I have real people that can vouch for me, but online, right, I don't have that authority. So I have to look and see if I'm doing the job that Google thinks I should do to provide a great page experience. Google's core ranking system looks to reward content that provides a good page experience. Now, this is going to be technical SEO at first. Does the page load fast? If I click on all the links, do the links work? Is it in an order that makes sense? Like a good outline, H1s, H2s, those are headings, right? Some of the technical stuff that you need to do and know about SEO if you create a site. If you were just to create a site and just put a title and then just write paragraph after paragraph after paragraph and not sort or not give a table of contents or not present the information in an orderly fashion, then that's not going to provide a great page experience. First, not for Google and their spiders to crawl the stuff, but then the fact that you're focused on people first content. When someone lands on a page, just like I'm reading this from Google, Google thinks this is good content. They think this layout is good content, right? They have their index over here, so you can click it, table of contents. Then they have, a trail here, so you can easily click back and forth. You can look, they have headlines. So if you were to break this down, right, the H1, the main topic, and then, the H2, the H3, subtopics under that topic, bulleted points, list with bullet points. Obviously, they think this is good content because they create it. So look at what they do and focus on it, because this content should be focused on people first content because that's what Google wants you to do, right? And avoid creating search engine first content. This means don't, and you go back to the old days of just spamming or thinking that you need to add a keyword a certain number of times into a piece of content, or people are still telling you that, kind of like, saying a word a certain amount of times if you're doing a Google video or, any type of thing where you are just trying to create the content and you read these questions. Is the content primarily made to attract visits from search engines? Well, yeah, Google. What in the world do you think I'm creating content for? Over here as a blogger, over here as a person that wants to get found, of course I, want it to attract visits from the search engine. But I get what they're saying, right? I get what they're saying. Is the content primarily made to attract visits from the search engines? They mean, are you only having this content written in the hopes that it gets found in that number one spot? Someone clicks, someone buys, I make money. That you don't give, you don't have any other intention other than that, other than it being a transactional affair or a transactional setup where you are saying, if I check off all these boxes as an SEO or what an SEO specialist told me, it's going to be on number one. People are going to click it, they're going to go through, and they're going to buy. And we're going to take a look at what that actually is called and when they actually stopped that kind of stuff way back when. And again, if you don't know this stuff, you don't know, and you could get dinged for this stuff. So you need to go through, you need to read all this. What about SEO? Isn't that search engine first content? And this kind of, comes to the idea of getting to know their guidelines and what they expect. Ask who, how, and why about your content, right? Being a journalist, like if you were to go back and you were to look at the things that when people first started to, or if you ever sat down and someone said, hey, write out a paper or like a research paper when you're in English class, or I'll say English class, if you speak another language, right? When you learned how to communicate with people, you learned how to tell a story, you learned how to provide information in an orderly fashion, hopefully like I've done in this video. But the question here, what about SEO? Isn't that search engine first? There are some things you could do that are specifically meant to help search engines better discover and understand your content. Collectively, this is called search engine optimization, or SEO for short. Google's own SEO guide, and again, click through this stuff and read all this, covers best practices to consider. SEO can be a helpful activity when it's applied to people first content rather than search engine first content. This statement simply just means that if you're going to play the game, you have to play the game, and you have to play it so that you create your content for the search engine, but you do it secondly. And does that make sense, right? It's a gray area. It's wordplay. It's me sitting here saying, right, create people first content. Like I expect you to put people first when you create content. I expect all the content that I create and put out that it's going to help someone. They're going to read it. They're going to find value from it. They're going to expect my opinion. They're going to respect the time that I put into creating that content for them is worth their time. And I expect them to then do or take action based upon that content. So that's what that means to me. But click on this, Google's own SEO guide. Click on that. That'll load. I'll leave the link in the description. Search Engine Optimization Starter Guide, right? Understand how Google search works. How long until I see impact in the search results? Help Google find your content. Check if Google sees your page the same way a user does. Do you want a page in Google search results? Organize your site like we just talked about. They give you the directions. They give you the instructions of how to do the technical stuff that needs to be done, how to be an SEO or how to do SEO in their eyes. And they see SEO as following these guidelines. Nothing more, nothing less. Following these guidelines, doing the things that they've laid out. Not gaming the system, not scaling your content, not trying to go out and buy a site that had worked for someone else previously and Google had given it a score. And then you take that and using a tool like Ahrefs, looking at the scores and then going saying, okay, now I'm going to do SEO, right? I'm going to manipulate the search rankings with these tricks, with these hacks, with these techniques that I know will work. And yeah, they do work. There's no doubt about it. That's why there is black hat SEO. Black hat SEO can work for good. It can also be negative. There are SEOs or there are people out there that do negative SEO against other sites to bring them down to reposition themselves. You can find this readily here on YouTube. And all I'm saying is, you can go that route and you can do those things because you're going to be frustrated like by this article. And again, all these links are in the description. How 16 companies are dominating the world's Google search results. Now, this is a thing and this is real. And as of today, right, Reddit opened up on the stock exchange and they made history, or they made not history, but for them, they started off with, a boom and they made like $2 billion, or the parent company made like $2 billion, right? But the idea here is 16 companies. These are massive companies that are in the business of creating content. So they're in the business of creating content, right? That means newspapers, magazines, right? In the old days, television. But now it's about creating content on the internet and getting it ranked by Google. If you were to look at some of these companies and look at this diagram and read through this article, you'll see that these companies, right, are the top 16 companies. And these are some of the brands that you might recognize. So the 20 biggest sites they're behind ranked ascending. So Elite is owned by Hearst. Game Rant, TV Guide, owned by Fandom. Parade's owned by the Arena Group. Sports Illustrated and TV Guide, or Sports Illustrated and Parade, are owned by the Arena Group. Good Housekeeping, Cosmopolitan, both owned by Hearst. All Recipes, and where's it at? Let's see. All Recipes. I thought there was another one here. But All Recipes is owned by Meredith. WebMD, owned by Internet Brands. Healthline, owned by Red Ventures. Mayo Clinic is owned by Ziff Davis. The point here being, read this article. Don't be frustrated by it. It's just the way of the world, right? This would be no different if you were trying to break into the toothpaste industry, or you were trying to, create some product out there that was already, Procter & Gamble or some other type of industry. This is the way of the world. This is what people do. They create these corporations. They have all these other little brands underneath it. And if you wanted to create a brand, say a brand of coffee, and break into it, you would have to beat Folgers and Maxwell House, right? Or washing powders. If you wanted to create detergent or soap or whatever, right? Anything. If you wanted to create a new car, you'd have to beat out Ford, General Motors, right? Whatever the latest car brand is, or the car brand in your country. So this does exist. Read this, understand this. This is part of the competition. It is also about picking a topic that doesn't have such competition. Or going and looking at what people have fallen prey to, in my opinion, is thinking that they can create a site that's going to attack a keyword like this. Or at one time, this was possible. The best blender for smoothies with frozen fruit. This is a incognito tab. These are sponsored ads. People have paid for these positions because people are looking to buy a blender for smoothies and do it with frozen fruit, or the best blender that works well for smoothies with frozen fruit. These are just links that you buy, right? Literally, this kind of goes against the guidelines, but they're sponsored, which is kind of like, you look at it and you go, well, isn't Google already doing this? Aren't they just directly linking to these people? Did this provide any value? They're going to say yes, because the person that saw this ad that was paid for found the best blender, because these are sponsored, but these are sponsored posts. Best product reviews, Amazon ratings, or this is the first organic result. Then you come down here to Food Network. And of course, I mentioned Reddit a second ago. And, if you know, Reddit just went IPO today. And one of the big results and one of the big complaints that people have been saying for a while, and with this update, is the fact that Reddit and Quora, right? Because they're saying forums, because Google created this discussion and forum section. But Reddit shows up for tons and tons of stuff now. But here's Food and Wine ratings. Here's Forbes. Now, to me, this is site abuse, right? I think this goes back to that original thing that we talked about, new ways we're tackling spam. And it talked about site reputation abuse. And it talked about we're publishing this policy 2 months in advance of the enforcement on May 5th to give site owners time to make any changes that are needed, right? So it talked about capitalizing on the strength of your website for things that you may or may not be known for. Forbes, best blenders for smoothies from Forbes.com. Really? I mean, does that even make sense? Forbes.com, if you don't know, is about investing and about money, right? Or that's what I thought it was about. If you go down, I think there's some other results. Here's 2 peas in their pod. I think, that's an independent site. Could be owned by some type of, mega corporation, but Good Housekeeping. But this is sponsored, and it goes back into sponsored ads. Here it is, the New York Times. The New York Times? Am I really going to open up the New York Times? Is the New York Times, or would have the New York Times ever printed that in their newspaper? Would they have said, I'm going to make this the front page of the New York Times, the 4 best blenders of 2024? Now, they did buy Wirecutter, which was a review site. So this is a subsection of the New York Times now. It is a product review site, or it is a product review section of the New York Times, and they purchased Wirecutter to do this. But isn't that site abuse? Now you go back to best VPN for Mac, or you go back to this concept, this idea of gaming the system. And this is why people were doing it, because check this out. If I search for best VPN for Mac, I'm looking to buy, right? I'm looking for a VPN. Sponsored. Forbes. Forbes is paying Google to present their best VPN blog post. Again, Forbes.com. I can understand CNET or Consumer Voice, but USA Today and Forbes.com having sponsored posts telling me what the best VPN is for, that's strictly for them to make money. They know that they can spend money on this ad, and it's going to make them money. It's going to be a positive return on investment for them to get people to click through to this page, click on their link, and buy a VPN. They're going to make money from it. So then you have, once you get past the sponsored, you have CNET, then you have Tom's Guide. Tom's Guide started off, I think, as a normal site, way back when. Tom's Guide, it was a dude named Tom, right? He was writing these tech guides. Since it's been bought out, it's owned by a mega corporation. I don't know if it's one of those 16. But then again, discussion and forums. For me, this is absolutely worthless. I'm never going to go to Reddit, and look and try to read these recommendations. And really, what SEOs were doing, they knew that this was happening. They knew that this occurred. So they were going in and spamming Reddit forums and bumping up their affiliate links, right? Building up their reputation inside of Reddit forums, and then getting these search results in Google, and then people would click on their Reddit link, and then that was their content, as well as they have, content on a site. So they're using the Reddit reputation in both Google search results and getting, their content posted on Reddit. There's also an Apple support forum here, and this is just Google paying homage to discussions and forums, in my opinion, because of the Reddit IPO and the fact that Google wanted Reddit, and they made a deal with Reddit, or maybe that's, I don't know if it went through or not, but it's about using Reddit content to train the Google AI. But again, the idea and the focus here is, as a blogger or an affiliate marketer, the best VPN for Mac, you're looking at getting your content because you are all about helping people understand the best VPN for Mac, or how to use a Mac and how to use a VPN and why you would use a VPN. So you get into questions like this: can I use a VPN on my Mac? You don't see any sponsored results there because this isn't a high value keyword, right? This isn't a bottom of the funnel keyword. This isn't a stage of awareness keyword where people are ready to buy. People don't have their credit card out going, I need a VPN. I need a VPN today. I know exactly what I need it for. I just need to find the best one. This is a person asking a different type of question. They're trying to educate themselves. Now you can see here, this is Apple support. This is Macworld, security.org, and then a whole bunch of YouTube videos. Of course, Google owns YouTube. And I think, this is the way ahead, to create videos and create a website. So you have the power of both of them, and you're building your authority. Like I was saying a minute ago, my authority in IT or my authority here in marketing is for me to have this website, have a Facebook group, coach students, get people mentioning me, build out that presence on the internet. Now, here's another question. How do I know if my Mac has a VPN? Again, you don't see any sponsored results. No one is bidding on that keyword, but it is a real keyword. It is a real question that people are asking. And you do see discussion in forums. You do see Quora and some other things, but you're going to come down here and you're going to see questions that other people are asking. Best VPN for Mac, that's going to be a high value keyword. People are going to be bidding a lot of money to get sponsored results. As we saw, if you go back, Consumer Voice, CNET, USA Today, and Forbes, they're spending money to get people to click to go through to their page. Now, getting people to click to go through their page, should that rank, or is that just a doorway or a gateway to get someone to click through to your affiliate link and make money? And that's the next thing I want to talk about is, as we're not SEOs, me and you aren't SEOs. So there's this concept called SEO doorway pages. Now I like this one. I looked up SEO doorway pages because I wanted to show you the concept, and I wanted to look up some detail and give that to you in the description, because you probably have never heard this, right? But there is an update on doorway pages. Google actually ranked Search Engine Land above them because Search Engine Land actually gives an example, which is a little better, right? So if we get up past this big crazy header where they have an ad, doorway pages, an SEO deep dive. Downplaying doorway pages can get you dinged. Here's how doorway pages emerge, what Google thinks of them, and tips to avoid the penalties. This was written in 2022, but if you go back to this, or you go down into this article, right, this guy was doing or creating content on the internet in 1996 and 1997, and he was creating these, he called them portals, right? He called them portal pages, and it worked. What he was doing was, he was creating pages specifically to manipulate the Google search results. He was creating pages, and Cult of the Web actually has some really good examples. And if you go back to why I think search engine optimization is important, Search Engine Land is number one above Google. This link is good. This link is good. Ahrefs, I clicked on that one. It wasn't really good. Wikipedia, I'm not a Wikipedia fan, but they're always going to rank because they do have that authority to rank for anything. Cult of the Web, never heard of them, don't know who they are, but they answered my question, so I clicked on it. Now again, this is the first page. There are no sponsored results, but Search Engine Land, I trust them, I know them. Google, developer Google, Ahrefs, I use them. Wikipedia, I usually throw that one out the window. I do look at Wikipedia sometimes, not gonna lie. But Cult of the Web, I actually made it to this. Now, I didn't make it down here. I'm not gonna lie, right? I'm not down here looking for more options. I am right here on the first page of Google, Cult of the Web, but they provided some really good examples. So to understand which page gets classified as a doorway page, and I'm showing you this because you're not an SEO. You're like me. You're not a search engine optimization specialist. You're not trying to manipulate the web, but you might do this thinking that this would work, and you're trying to do an experiment, or you might hear someone doing this who has results or got results fast or quick. They made a lot of money or made a little bit of money, but then they don't tell you the rest of the story. So some example of doorway pages are, to understand which pages get classified as doorway page, Google has given us 3 examples. Creating multiple domain names, subdomains, subfolders of multiple sites to increase search footprint. And again, this goes back to what they're still fighting today here in 2024. And I'll show you when they started fighting this. But creating pages to funnel visitors to actionable or creating pages to funnel visitors to the actual usable part of the website. For example, if the main page is best food for dogs, then you create 10 different pages: best food for dogs in Texas, best food for dog in Houston, best food for dog in New York, and so on. And it all links to one page, or creating similar pages that are closer to search results in a browsable hierarchy. This is a doorway page. If you were to search for this, both of these pages go to the same link or go to the same thing. Here's another example: camera accessories, or creating a website and saying popular items for vegan t-shirt, candy bag, new gift for mom, popular items, right? They're saying create unique content. They're saying don't create just for the sake of ranking. So what is a doorway page and how it affects SEO of your website? So read that, go through that, understand, right? Like, doorway pages are a thing. And this update was, and I want to highlight this, doorway pages, Google tackled this in 2015. Remember this? We were looking at the archives, goes all the way down to 2005. Google tackled this with an update in March 2015. This is 2024. You're not an SEO. You never heard of this. You're just a person that is a blogger or an affiliate marketer or a person that's trying to get helpful content out there and create content for people. But you're also like, well, I heard that we need to do certain things to make sure that it gets ranked on Google. Well, that may or may not have been addressed already in an update. You may be getting old information. So you need to, do your due diligence. And sometimes, unfortunately, even if you're creating people first content, the content can still bite you in the rear end because you're not an SEO. You're just trying to do what you think is right. All right. And with that, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments. Check out all those links. Go through all that. And of course, once you go through it, if you have questions about it, let me know in the comments. I'll make a new video about it. We'll deep dive in this because I'm moving forward. I am going to be using blogging as part of my top strategy inside of affiliating to create helpful content. But it's going to be written, or it's going to be indexed. My goal is to get it indexed into Google, but also to use other traffic sources. And I'll cover that in later videos. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.